I wouldn't know what to ask Julia. I haven't decided. But top of mind lang, if I want to go, if I want to go hard, I wouldn't be able to speak about that interview in the context of his career. But if I have anything to say about it, with that interview, Gerald, whether deliberately or unconsciously, set himself free. I am not very close to Gerald. He's a friend. Nakita ko si Gerald mag-umpisa sa PBB. I've done his interviews. I have I've had conversations with him, but I am not a close friend. We haven't had a meal together in the house. Ang ibig sabihin ni Gerald doon sa ikaw ito, Tito Boy, because he's seen me work. I've done some difficult interviews with Gerald. He's seen me work. And sa palagay ko, he knows, I mean, up to this very moment, that to the best of my abilities, I am fair. I am fair when I do my interviews. I am not accusatory. I am not contrarian. I do not deliberately insult people. So it was coming from there. The Tito Boy, I've had, if I were to say a couple of lines about ikaw ito Tito Boy, is because I treat him well professional. In professional relationship, think that he was referring to. The friendly, we're very friendly. He's very nice, and I've seen him start in the business. So, merong Miguel trust. I think that's very important. There was a trust from the very beginning, and I think at the back of his head, he was talking for the first time, and he was in front of someone who was not going to judge him. He was in front of someone who was willing to listen to his side of the story. So he was, I think, again, without being presumptuous, he was in a good place. I wouldn't know what to ask Julia. I haven't decided. But top of mind lang, if I want to go, if I want to go hard. No, I mean, this is of course considering. I mean, not considering the body language. I don't know her state of mind, her mood, etc. But theoretically, if I were to ask a provocative question, because I'd like to start by provoking so that we can have a conversation, I would probably ask her, Julia, given the chance to have a face-to-face conversation with Bea Alonzo, what would you tell her? Why do you think most of you are against this relationship? Or if it's a personal question, first I'll say, what do you think about this relationship? And if he says, I like it, why? I don't like it, why? Kasi di ba hati nung reaksyon. There are some people are happy, there are people are not, there are people have, this is the thing about social media now, because each one has the power to opinionate, which is both bad and good, depending on perspective. So I would say, or alam mo Jojo, I would say, I would ask the Pinoy netizen, what would you want to ask the two? Totoo. Totoo. Yes. Nakakamiss lang because a lot of these people, a lot of our friends belong to a hybrid tayo, belong to a generation that appreciated this kind of interviews. This is a generation that appreciated the buzz, that enjoyed, that fascinated, bago magsimba ay nanonood, sino kayang exclusive interviews. So we get a lot of that. But I don't want to negate the truth that a large part of the population is not there anymore. Ayoko bulahin ang sarili ko na this represents a majority. Marami, wala, they're already on, and I'm talking about everyone, content makers and audiences. Everybody's a content maker, and everybody's an audience. Everybody's an audience. Everybody's a content maker. So that's do you level it? So you have to be very clear with your brand equity. Pero di ba, hybrid tayo eh. Naranasan natin yung ano kaya ang totoo? Sino kaya ang ganito? How John Lloyd Cruz story. I remember all the exclusive interviews I've done. Can I do that today? No. Siguro paminsan-minsan makakagawa tayo. But to entertain the delusion that we still have that control, wala. Hindi naman maiiwasan pag if the opportunity presents for us to do an interview with, let's say, Julia or Bea, or I mean, they would be most welcome to join us on Kumu. Kasi it's not just about doing controversial stories or interviews. It's about being able to offer the best that we can to our audiences. Dahil gusto rin nila malaman, makarinig, gusto nila it's the experience also of being part of a conversation. So the answer to that is yes. Yeah, it is possible. It is possible that we can do interviews. We can do I don't want to say controversial. Yes, we can do interviews similar to what I did with Gerald Anderson on The Best Talk. After all, it's called The Best Talk.
Yeah.
Kaya anong sinabi ni Aaron sa akin, kumusta ka? I'm really good. Pero nandiyan pa rin yung takot, nandiyan pa rin yung paranoia. I'm strengthening my immune system. I'm being very careful. It's difficult, MJ, to be very honest. It's difficult on many levels. Doon sa kalusugan side, nag-iingat. Lahat kami dito sa bahay, we wear masks. Lahat. Ngayon lang because I'm in front of, I'm alone here actually, dito sa area na ito. So, it's so uncertain. Katulad ng marami, akala ko by this time, life would be easier. Hindi. But we're more familiar with the situation. So we know kahit papano what to do. Hindi katulad last year that we were taken by surprise as to what's going to happen. So that's the only good thing about it. But people are talking about this variant that's easily transmittable, and that really scares me. So sa lusugan, yes, I'm still so. I mean, the word I'm loosely using it. I'm still so paranoid about many things because you have this virus that you don't see, you don't know. The good thing is the vaccine is here, and I don't know if I'm going to go through it. I want to watch, and I'm unsure. That's the word. Pero I want to go back to my Gerald Anderson interview. Alam mo, when I was invited to do that interview by Miko Del Rosario, we did some discussions, but there were no mandatories. Ang biro ko nga kasi nagpa-PCR, nagpa-swab ako just to be able to go to the set of Init sa Magdamag. And ang biroan nga namin ni Miko, nabudol tayo. Akala ko kasi it was 1 hour and 30 minutes. Yun pala, it was almost a 3-hour ride to where they were. And we didn't know. No, we didn't know what we were going to talk about. Kami ni Gerald, we had no understanding. There were no conditions. There were no, these are things that you can ask, etc. Naalala ko, pagbaba ko ng auto, I went straight to the set. Sabi ni Gerald, kumusta ka, Tito Boy? Halos isang taon tayo hindi nagkita. Sabi ko nga, Gerald, halos isang taon tayo hindi nagkita. And then I told him, sabi niya, what are we going to talk about? Sabi ko, I don't know. But I am willing to be led. I will go to where you want me to go. Makikinig lang ako. I had no. But of course, prior to that, you know me, MJ, I do my research. I stalk IG accounts. I did my research. I was ready for the interview. I was ready for the conversation. So sabi ko, Miko, Je, pupunta lang ako doon sa kung saan ako gusto dalhin ni Gerald. So there was no intent of, I'm gonna do this interview, I'm gonna ask the difficult questions. Wala. But of course, alam ko sa puso ko at sa isipan ko that there were basic questions that people wanted me to ask. Ginost ka ba? Pangalawa, kayo ba ni Julia? I mean, these are mandatories. But tinanong ko ba yon kung hindi ako pinakitaan ng pagkakataon that he was ready to ask the questions? If he showed that he was not ready, I would not have gone there. Pero unang tanong ko pa lang, ang sagot ni Je was, I asked him as to how he was, his state of mind, and he said he was living in gratitude, and that, after all, he had been the most controversial man in the whole country. Sabi ko, dalawang salita yun, gratitude and controversy. So from there, alam ko na, posible ito, magbubukas ito. But there were many things. Remember, it was over an hour interview. We talked about being public and being private. We talked about his mother. We talked about careers. We talked about beginnings. We talked about a fan base that started with Pinoy Big Brother. We talked about styles and techniques of acting. We talked about, what you saw. And we talked about many other things. Ang dami namin na pag-usapan doon ni Gerald. And I was happy with that interview. And I also did an interview with J.M. de Guzman. I also did an interview with Yam Concepcion. And I am still, alam mo, MJ, nakakamiss. Nakakamiss talaga. I missed that whole experience of being able to do an interview with someone in front of you and being able to see the nuances, being able to see the body language. Yun yung nakakamiss. And I am grateful to Miko, I'm grateful to Star Creatives, I'm grateful to all who made that interview possible. Hindi lang yan, MJ. In the last days, tomorrow I'll be showing this on my YouTube channel. Talagang YouTube channel. The Boy Abunda Talk channel. My interview of the Bling Empire. I saw your interview with Nicole Scherzinger. I will be doing Nicole here in the Philippines this coming Friday at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I continue to do my interviews, and I'm happy that I'm being given this chance to be able to do interviews. Yes, that's a backstory of the Gerald Anderson interview. Kasi may mga tao, MJ, na nagtatanong, talagang itatanong mo, I didn't know. Hindi ko alam. Hindi ko alam. I've been in this business for so long. Parati ko sinasabi, MJ, you know this. I don't sit in my interview set with the intent of maligning, of disparaging anybody. You listen. You watch the body of the guy. You listen to his voice. Is he open? Is he willing? And if you felt he was, and then I did. And I said in one of my questions, with love and respect, Gerald, as an audience, does Julia make you happy? And then he answered me. I said, it's answerable by a yes or a no. He said yes. So that's the background of the story.